Munguia kind of showed now that he is levels above a lot of these 168 guys. I wouldn't say, he's ready for a Canelo. He's not on that skill level yet. He's finally in the group of the elite. He's not, of course, the best in that group.
And Slim went on social media saying that he feels that KSI is ducking them. And Mams Taylor came out with a statement saying that he doesn't want to put Slim up against KSI because he wants to protect Slim. And he doesn't feel that it makes sense that KSI fight Tommy Fury and then fight Slim. The return of world champion Rolly Romero. Is it Ryan Garcia?
No.
Devin Haney?
No.
Is it Matias?
No.
He's taking on Isaac Pitbull Cruz at 140. So we have Tim Tszyu taking on Keith Thurman.
In the resume, Keith Thurman, former world champion, it looks pretty good if Tim Tszyu is able to KO him. But if you dig a little deeper, Keith Thurman hasn't fought in 2 years.
Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Last Round Podcast. You got me, Pablo, and I'm with Rudo and Asa, and we are here to talk some boxing. Now, let's dive right into it. This past weekend, we had the showdown between Jaime Munguia as he took on John Ryder. And let's just say that this fight, in my opinion, exceeded my expectations for Munguia. Because last episode, we gave our predictions for that fight, and I predicted Jaime Munguia to win, but I predicted him to struggle, to have to go through some adversity, because in my opinion, I thought John Ryder was going to come and bring it. And, I think we got a little surprised to, there's a little surprise to what we got this past weekend with Jaime Munguia's performance. What are your guys' thoughts about that fight?
Yeah, I wasn't surprised. I called it last podcast. I thought Jaime Munguia was gonna win, and I actually thought he was gonna do good. I don't know, something in me just kind of. I was talking about this with Rudo. I really thought Munguia was gonna show out, and he did. He pulled out, I think, his best performance in his career, in probably the brightest light. Against John Ryder, an ex-opponent of Canelo, who better to show your skills than someone like that. And he finished him in 9 rounds. The super legendary, durable John Ryder could not take Jaime Munguia's right hand. This kid is special, man.
Yeah, I guess I don't know shit about boxing because I really thought Ryder was going to win. I thought he could have had a possibility of, pulling the upset. He did really good against Canelo, and he's done tremendous against some of these other elite fighters, as I stated before. But yeah, I don't know. Luckily, though, I didn't say this, but on Friday, I did switch. I said I switched just because how the way John Ryder looked on the scales. He looked a little bit more chubbier. He looked a little bit more like he wasn't putting 100% into the gym. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think that there was actually a lot of criticism on John Ryder? People were saying that he was out of shape and he didn't take this fight seriously. Do you think there's any truth to that?
Yeah, if you look chunky, like within just the belly area. Like if you just looked at the Canelo weigh-in and the Munguia weigh-in, the Canelo weigh-in, he looked like flat. He had abs. It looked cut, defined, and then when he stepped on the scale with Munguia, it was just kind of like round. I was like, "Whoa, what's that, bro? Like, I'm switching, bro. What the heck? I'm gonna switch. I can't." But yeah, no. Either way, like going based off of your point, I was genuinely surprised. Like he dropped him 4 times. He hurt him several times, and his corner stopped it. Like he's never been stopped before. Like I think Munguia, as what you said, he stepped up to the plate and he delivered. And now I'm really excited to see what 2024 has to bring for him. And I hope it's against another elite fighter if it's not Canelo.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're barely, the first month in to 2024. So I'm really expecting to see a Munguia fight again before the end of the year.
Yeah. Who do you think it would be?
It's tough, man. There's a lot of people at 168. It's a really stacked division. Of course, Chris Mannix, he had to urge the issue because Munguia didn't really want to call anybody out. He urged the issue and he said, you want to fight Canelo, the kingpin, all 4 belts. And Munguia, he was pretty humble, which was kind of surprising. Munguia was like, it'd be an honor to share the ring with you if you give me the opportunity to fight. I think that's actually the better way to approach Canelo to a fight. Doing it in a more humble way instead of like an Andrade way where he showed up in his post-fight press conference after the Billy Joe Saunders win and he just started talking shit. Like I don't think that's gonna make Canelo want to fight you, but You know, Munguia he mentioned both Mexican showdown, was really humble about it. Maybe Canelo will give it a consideration.
Maybe. Yeah, I'm just not quite sure. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, no opponent has been officially set for him, right? So
No.
I mean, it's possible, but I guess it's up to Munguia and stuff like that for him to actually press the action, actually want that fight.
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
I think. Well, first off, the whole thing with Canelo maybe potentially being a possible opponent for Munguia. I don't really want to see it in the aspect that I think everyone, wants Benavidez to be, next in line for that showdown. And I think Benavidez has done a lot more to kind of get that fight over Munguia, who, I mean, many would say this was his first big major step up in a while because, his last fight was against Derevyanchenko. And
That's a step up, I'd say.
Who?
Derevyanchenko.
Yeah, but we also got to remember where Derevyanchenko was in his career.
Mm-hmm.
He was a lot older. He had gone through multiple wars. He had lost multiple times. He was not the same Derevyanchenko who fought against Golovkin, or even before the Golovkin fight. He's no longer that fighter. So for Derevyanchenko to do as much as he did against Munguia, it was a little surprising, and which is why I was not expecting Munguia to perform the way he performed. The way he performed this past weekend, based on his performance against Derevyanchenko. But I mean, he switched from Morales to Freddie Roach. That big change in trainers, and it showed in the fight. Munguia really, like I mentioned, really surprised me by the way he was offensively able to break down a tough John Ryder. Whose main his biggest asset is him being durable. Not even like we said, Canelo couldn't stop him. He dropped and broke his nose, but he kept coming back, and Munguia was able to drop him 4 times and eventually stop him. But for your question about a possible next opponent, man, put in Berlanga.
Oh,
Edgar Berlanga, bro. Come on.
Actually,
that fight would be banging in the aspect of the fans, bro. Mexico versus Puerto Rico. Do it in New York or somewhere. It'd be crazy.
I'm not gonna lie, that would actually be an entertaining fight that I would tune into. Just like you said, it's there. The PR versus Mexico. Oh my gosh.
But like,
and it's gonna go down. Mexico's gonna beat the shit out of Puerto Rico again.
Yeah, Berlanga, I highly doubt his team would take that fight.
Hell
Maybe
no.
if it was for the right money, potentially,
Maybe if he had like a belt or something.
Yeah, or something like that. But yeah, I think Munguia would just absolutely
Munguia would dog him.
clobber him.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
he destroy Berlanga. I mean, Berlanga already has a fight coming up. Let's see what he says after that. But I mean, as a fan, I'd rather see that fight because I think it'd be fun. It'd be a fun, dramatic fight. It'd be more for the fans though than actual fighters.
And I think Munguia kind of showed now that he is levels above a lot of these 168 guys. We were talking about this in the last pod. We were saying, if Munguia wants to prove that he's an elite at 168, he has to make a statement against John Ryder. And he made that statement. So I think he showed that he is levels above these guys. And, I wouldn't say, he's ready for like a Canelo. He's not on that skill level yet.
He's like on the bottom of the totem pole within the elite fighters.
But exactly. So he's finally in the group of the elite. He's not, of course, the best in that group, but he's there. And, he should be fighting these higher level guys now. They should now be more. Oscar De La Hoya should be more comfortable in putting him with some riskier fighters instead of coddling him. So I think he is ready. He showed, like you said, he's with Freddie Roach now. There's a clear and apparent skill level difference now. He seems he's using his jab more. Nice head movement,
maybe a little bit more.
Okay. He looks more comfortable in there. So. Yeah, I was impressed by Munguia, and he's definitely now an elite at 168, I believe.
Yeah, I think like if they still want to build him up, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of critical about it because he's
You're
got
a hater.
No, I'm just critical. Or let me shed some light onto this. He has 45 fights now.
43?
43 fights, and it's taken this long for him to get to that position. Okay, sure. If you want to continue to build it up to potentially fight against like Canelo, Benavidez. I think the next opponent for him if we're just going back on the conversation of like who his next opponent could be, I wouldn't mind if it was the next champion at 168. I'm thinking Uzcategui could be the right one, right? Because he was a champion and he hits hard. You know, he no, he didn't beat Caleb Plant, but I mean he gave Caleb Plant somewhat of a good fight.
Nah, Caleb Plant whooped him. Yeah, I remember that fight. It was a good fight, but Caleb Plant, that was actually a very impressive showing by Caleb Plant. It's one of his best performances, and you know, really gave him a name at 168.
But beating Darrell, I mean, who was a champion? I mean, I think that's a really good name, or I think that's a good name for Munguia's resume.
Yeah, there's a lot of things, you know. A lot of fighters do this where they fight either like ex-champions, you know, once they're going into the ascend, into like world championship status, to get good fights, they don't always take like really risky fights. What they do is they take fights from people that have big names or have a resume, but might be a little older or like on the decline of their career. Like you said, Uzcategui, he is a former world champion. It's a nice name to have on your resume. You know, let's say Munguia is able to TKO him. He TKO'd Uzcategui. That's actually pretty. It looks nice. But I mean, if you dig a little deeper, yeah, Uzcategui. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard about him in a while. Ever since he lost against Plant, his career kind of went down. But he's a former world champion nonetheless, and it's still, you know, something to show. Like Darrell, again, he got knocked out by Plant, but he is a former world champion. There's a lot of things that Oscar De La Hoya could do with Munguia. We just have to wait and see. I think that it's a little too slow, that process, I believe.
Yeah.
I'd want to see him fight maybe like an actual risky fight.
Like who?
Morel? I don't want to. Honestly, Morel, or I don't believe this fight would be made, but David Benavidez. Some people are actually calling for this. They're saying Benavidez versus Munguia. Winner takes Canelo in September. And I guess it'd be kind of cool because it's like, who is the best in Mexico? Spoiler alert, it's gonna be Canelo. But you know, it's a little storyline right there. You can build it up.
Yeah, I think that would be a perfect way to go. But I mean, it would have to be for the fighters to actually decide to actually want to do that. And I'm not sure if Munguia and Golden Boy will actually be willing to do that.
Yeah. I mean, it's all up to Oscar.
Yeah,
You
I
know
mean,
how
he's
Oscar is.
continuing to build them up. So I'm just gonna assume that they're gonna continue on with that trajectory. Like
Slower process.
Yeah.
It's definitely possible. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the issue. Munguia's career has been slow in the long run.
He's 27 still.
He is 27, but you already have 43 fights.
43 fights, but you know how those Mexicans are.
I
They
know.
always have hella fights, dude. They got hella fights. So
But-
that doesn't really alarm me.
But I feel like he should already be at a. I think he's now at the I believe the highest peak of his career right now, based on this past performance and how the fans have been speaking highly of him, you know, online, and so he has a lot of buzz around his name. Okay, that's good. Keep building on that, you know. Put him up against someone, like you said, someone who's risky, someone who, you know, who he has the potential to perhaps lose, right? But it's like you know, it's a high risk reward type of fight. And if he does, I mean, because imagine he fights like a high risk fighter, he beats him. What does that do to his stock?
Oh my gosh.
It blows him up into superstardom.
Exactly.
Because he's already developing into a star. People in Mexico, you know, the fans, it was packed there,
And they loved him.
They loved him, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he filled up the arena, but based on the
Yeah,
looks
fans
of
at
it,
least.
yeah, he had fans. You know, people were there to see him fight. So imagine he fights a big fight for his next one, and he wins. His stock is gonna go unbelievably high. People are gonna be saying, "Hey, Munguia is a real deal at 168. Give him a shot at the belts," you know. And he's gonna have more leverage, you know. He's gonna have more credibility, you know, more respect overall from not only the fans but also from fighters, because they're gonna be like, oh, this man, you know, he's actually the real deal. You know, he not only can he punch, but he can box, he can do this and that, yada yada yada, right? He can make the adjustments. So I want him to take a big fight. I don't want to take it, you know, I don't want him to take it slow anymore, because that's what he's been doing for a good portion of his career. And I'm not sure what Oscar's plan is, but if I was,
he has his own
yeah,
plan.
Oscar, you know, he says one thing and then he says the other thing the next day, so it's like he's very, it's very hard to know what he's thinking. But yeah, if I was Oscar, let's say if I was Oscar, I'd want, you know, get him, you know, that big fight, you know, so he can build his name up and then potentially get a mega fight afterwards. And this can all be done in the same year, this year, 2024.
Do you think that De La Hoya maybe thinks that Munguia isn't ready yet? Because don't get it twisted, Munguia, this was definitely impressive, and the boxing community is giving him credit. But he did have some flaws in there. John Ryder was able to connect him with some hooks and some powerful, clean punches. Do you think they believe that Munguia doesn't have the skills yet to compete at that top level?
I think if they had any doubt about Munguia prior to this fight, I think it kind of all got washed away after this performance, because the way he handled John Ryder was crazy. You know, he showed, like I said, he showed that he's capable of making adjustments. Right, he was offensively brilliant. He would his right hand, his power overall, was able to overwhelm and break down the durable John Ryder, who's made a name for being the tough. So if anyone from Golden Boy, from the higher ups like Hopkins or De La Hoya had any doubts about Munguia prior to this fight, I feel like it kind of it got washed away after seeing how he fought against Ryder this past weekend.
Yeah, I definitely do think he silenced the critics.
Yeah, I mean, there was some critic, when he fought against his performance when he fought Derevyanchenko. He didn't look the best. He did get caught, and Derevyanchenko was able to catch him in some instances where Jaime wasn't looking good and stuff like that. Yes, you could say some of that criticism did go away with his performance, but then it goes back to the thing, like, it's against a guy who is kind of on the back end of his career, somewhat not washed up, but I mean, he's definitely gone through the list of the elites, and stuff like that. So, I mean, I think there is. You don't think so?
No, I don't. I wouldn't say that John Ryder is on the back end of his career.
No.
Well,
I think so, just based on the fact, like, there's definitely, like, the wear and tear on the body for sure. It's not a guy against a guy who, like, a Benavidez, a David Morrell, and stuff, or even a Caleb Plant. Like, it's against guys who have already lost against other elite fighters, and now Munguia fights them and he beats them. Yeah,
like leftovers
almost. Yeah. So I'm not sure. I think there could be some possible doubts, but I mean, if they think this is the green light to let's go ahead and make the big fights happen, then props to them. But by their track record, I think they're going to continue to move very slowly.
Yeah, because I mean, the critics always talk, obviously, and I was seeing some of the stuff that they were saying, and I think that is actually a point that they pointed out in Munguia, the fact that he does get hit kind of cleanly. And I think his offense is amazing. His power, oh my gosh, it's crazy. That right hand definitely does have a lot of power. His power from 160 has gone up to 168. So, he's definitely powerful. No one's questioning that. But he does get hit kind of cleanly. John Ryder got some licks in. Derevyanchenko in his last fight got some licks in. Sometimes Munguia gets a little too emotional, especially when he hurts his opponent and kind of leaves himself open, So, I think his defense does need some work to do. It's definitely his weak point, I would say. But, so what do you think of that? Do you think maybe, a counterpuncher might be able to punish him?
Oh, for sure. I mean, that's what I'm saying. John Ryder was catching him with the hook. I mean, that's that's kind of like Canelo's bread and butter almost. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, he does have some things that need to be worked on, but it looks like though he has improved though since his last fight. I mean, he did get hit a bit less.
Yeah, he did. Definitely.
I would say so,
yeah.
And I think that comes down to Freddie Roach's implementation of whatever they're working on in the gym. It's working. So, and this is only the first fight, so I'm just going to assume they're going to continue to get better. So, we'll just have to wait and see.
You think it was a good choice then to move from Eric Morales to Freddie Roach?
Oh yeah, dude. I really don't know why he even hired him in the first place.
I was kind of surprised. I've never seen Eric Morales in the corner of anybody. Like,
I don't even think he's a coach, even as an amateur coach either. So I think that was just kind of random.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
for legend status,
Legend
having
status.
someone in his corner like that, some little publicity as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he was trying to implement something that Eric used to do when he used to fight. And he was kind of like, I kind of want to do this for myself and my style. Like, he tried to implement that. But, I mean, I don't know. Because it's kind of random.
Freddie Roach, I mean, he was telling him, I caught one advice in the corner during the break, was that double jab right hand. And that was actually what dropped John Ryder for the first time. It was the double jab, right hand. I think he was a little more patient this fight. He was calculating, and he used his jab a lot better. John Ryder was not throwing his jab at all. I mean, I think that was one of his downfalls as well, is that this man just did not, he refused to throw a jab. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, so in conclusion, I think not everyone, but it was expected for Jaime Munguia to beat John Ryder. But the thing that caught everyone by surprise was the manner of how he did it. I think that's the main thing that we can get from this. But so Jaime Munguia improves to 43-0 and is looking for a big fight for 2024. And I mean, if he continues fighting, he can get 3 fights in for this year. So it's still January. We still got a couple more months to go. So let's see what Jaime Munguia decides to do for the remainder of the year. Moving on from the fight, let's talk about the official Prime Video PBC fight announcement. We finally are able to know who's actually headlining and who's actually going to be fighting in this card for the first official one in March. So we have Tim Tszyu taking on Keith Thurman. One-time Thurman is back, baby, after nearly, I think, a 2-year hiatus, since he last fought against Mario Barrios. What are you guys' thoughts about this fight? Because I saw a lot of mixed feedback from the fans when this fight got announced.
Yeah, I think I feel like it was kind of split. The boxing community isn't really sure whether this is a good fight or a bad fight. For me personally, I mean, I think this goes back to a conversation that we were just having, where in the resume, Keith Thurman, former world champion, it looks pretty good if Tim Tszyu was able to KO him. But if you dig a little deeper, Keith Thurman hasn't fought in 2 years. I would say he's on the back end of his career. He's getting older now. His last fight was against Manny Pacquiao, where he lost.
It was
Barrios.
Barrios, yeah.
Well, actually, he beat the shit out of Barrios. I'm gonna be honest. He beat the shit out of Barrios, but he has 2 losses. Hasn't fought in 2 years. Very inactive. There's some questions regarding is Keith Thurman even disciplined and in the gym? 2 years is a long time.
Or to be honest, I kind of thought he retired.
Yeah, we haven't really heard from him in a while.
Yeah, so basically, I mean, I think he was pretty active up until he fought Manny. He loses. He takes
he went
2 years, another 2. He went 2 years, fought Barrios, took another 2-year break, and now he's coming back. And now he has less hair as well.
Yeah,
so that hairline is all the way back there.
Yeah, he's aging. He's aging.
Yeah, definitely. He's definitely on the back end of his career. It's gonna look good when Tim Tszyu knocks him out.
Yeah,
Tim Tszyu is gonna destroy that man. Tim Tszyu is a force to be reckoned with. I'm just gonna assume his sparring partners are just bigger than Thurman. This guy's so tough. He can just, oh my god, just like his father. He has hands of stone. And Thurman, how old is he? 35.
Around there.
Yeah, no, I don't think he's gonna be able to handle that, and he's much bigger as well.
Yeah,
this is Thurman's first fight at a new weight class, and he hasn't fought in 2 years against a guy who is young and hungry and wants more belts. He wants all the belts.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, Thurman this is just a nice way of introducing Tim to the United States. I think this is what that is.
Yeah, because that's what I think too. I think he's gonna get Thurman is going to get a whooping. Yeah. I mean, I think, Tim Tszyu, because he's active, and he's also really good. Not only does he have power, which is his, that's his point. This Tim Tszyu, he got power. But he's also got some boxing, and he knows how to set it up too. So, I have really high hopes for Tim Tszyu. I think he really does have a chance at being undisputed, at least unified at the 154 division. And once this fight comes, which I believe is in March 30th, I think he's going to end Thurman's career for good.
Hey, man, Thurman just looking for that retirement check at this point. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because 2 years being inactive and then going up against a undefeated, young, hungry world champion at a new weight class.
Recipe for disaster.
Yeah, especially for Thurman, who I remember he stated after the Pacquiao loss, he suffered from depression because, the loss really took a big toll on him, which explains why he's been so inactive ever since that loss against Pacquiao. So, yeah, they're essentially just baiting, or they're using him. They're serving his head on a platter for Tim Tszyu to showcase his skills in the USA. But as well, besides that fight, they also announced the undercard, the main card for that fight. They had the return of world champion Rolly Romero, baby. He's back. He's back. And who is it? Is it Ryan Garcia?
No.
Devin Haney?
No.
Is it Matias?
No.
Nah. He's taking on Isaac Pitbull Cruz at 140. I'm surprised Cruz decided to take that fight at 140. What are you guys' thoughts about that fight? Because personally, for me, I see this two ways. One is they want to give Rolly a chance to at least be able to defend his belt at 140. And two, Rolly's team sees this as an opportunity to take an easy belt at 140. What are you guys' thoughts about this fight?
I think, yeah, both of those statements are correct. I mean, I think this is kind of a 50-50 fight. It depends what type of Rolly we get that night. If we get the best Rolly, I think he definitely has a chance at beating Pitbull Cruz. Because Pitbull, I mean, he's like, what is he, 5'4"? Yeah. Like, this guy is tiny, let's be honest. He's wide, you know what I'm saying? He packs a punch. I'm not saying any of those aren't true. I'm just saying the guys that he's fighting are bigger than him naturally. And once you keep on climbing the weight classes, it's going to start showing in the performances. So Rolly was a big 135. Now he's at 140. I'm sure he's still very, very heavy, and Rolly also packs a punch. You can't lie and say he doesn't. So this is a close fight. I'm actually not sure. I don't think I'm gonna be giving my predictions at this moment, but I'm really excited for this fight because first of all, we can obviously get a world championship switch, where Pitbull Cruz could be a world champion at 140, and then he has fights against all the other world champions, very entertaining. We also have Rolly, who's he definitely has some questions surrounding his name right now. There's a lot of doubters right now on Rolly because of his last fight against Barroso. I'm just excited to see this fight. This is going to be a good Prime Video show out.
Yeah, for me, I think it's a little too early, and I think it's kind of like almost out of left field. Like, who would have thought Pitbull Cruz was going to move up to 140 this year? Like, I thought he was like trying to get a belt at 135, and because of his height, I thought he just wasn't going to try to make that move up.
And it's also interesting that he's fighting Rolly because Ryan Garcia was in the mix of either fighting Rolly or he was either going to fight Pitbull Cruz. Turns out they left Ryan Garcia as a third wheel, and Pitbull Cruz and Rolly are going to get it on in the ring.
Well, yeah, I guess that's what happens when you are actually the champion. When you have the belts, I mean, everyone wants to fight you. But I can't give my prediction, but one thing is that I think this is going to affect Pitbull. I think he's going to look like fight night, he's going to definitely look like a Pitbull. He's going to look bigger, shorter, but stockier. You know what I'm saying?
Even stockier, yeah.
Yeah, so he's definitely going to look like a Pitbull, so that's going to pose a problem. But, I mean, they both hit hard. They both kind of just go forward. For sure, Pitbull. So, yeah, I can't really give a prediction, but I think it's going to be a good fight. So, I'm not mad, but I know I can see why people are definitely hating on it.
Yeah, and actually now I just remembered that Cruz also has a lot of doubters in his name right now because of his last fight against Giovanni Cabrera. Giovanni Cabrera. Oh my gosh, because that fight was
Giovanni
too
won.
Close.
No,
Yeah,
Giovanni won,
dude.
I think.
Like Pitbull performed so bad. A lot of haters are calling him like a one-dimensional fighter now because I mean, Cabrera wasn't even doing anything crazy like that, like a boxer, like a super technical boxer. No, he was just doing some simple footwork movements. What's it called? Angle switches, all these stuff. And Pitbull Cruz just could not touch him.
Yeah, what's funny is that he wasn't really doing anything special, Giovanni.
Yeah, he wasn't.
But he's just very unorthodox. He has a style that you don't see really typically, even in the amateurs. Really, like it's just weird, awkward. He kind of throws punches from different angles. He just does things that a lot of boxers don't really do. So I guess it was kind of hard. But given the position that Pitbull is in, like he should have been able to figure that out. Like if you're an elite fighter, you're supposed to make the necessary adjustments within the fight.
They say that Rolly is an unorthodox fighter. You think?
No, that dude.
Like Gervonta said, he just sucks.
No, I mean, Rolly's there to get hit. I mean, Giovanni's kind of like he's awkward and he's kind of hard to touch as well. But Rolly is just kind of there. He's kind of flat-footed. He's not really moving. He's just kind of there, going yeah, yeah, yeah. Like that's all.
And his last fight, he moved a lot against Barroso.
Barroso,
Yeah, because Barroso was going forward.
Yeah.
But when Rolly talked about that fight, he was saying, he's like, I did not want this old man to touch me because, he was saying he got stone hands, which is true.
Yeah.
And that's why Rolly was moving a lot. That was actually one of the fights that I was surprised. He was moving so much.
Yeah.
He was literally trying to box.
I think that was like the most I've ever seen him move, actually.
Yeah, that is the most I've ever seen him move. So I don't know if he's going to implement that against Pitbull or he's going to try to do what he did against Gervonta and push forward.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see. I really don't know. Like, I feel like this is a fight that it can go almost either way, really. It just kind of depends on what each fighter wants to do.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to give a prediction either because it's still too early. And I feel as time gets closer to the fight, you start, seeing how the fighters act and how.
I want to see that Rolly trash talk.
Yeah, I want, after a couple press conferences, after maybe during fight week is when we're going to start seeing, who's more in shape or who's more in that right mental mindset to give an honest prediction. But I think this fight might be one of the fight of the years. Not fight of the years, fight of the night. Because, like you said, they're both stylistically well matched because they're just both going to go. They both heavy-handed, and I mean, what if they both decide to go forward and just
firefight,
just brawl it out, man? I can't see Rolly doing that, to be honest. I can see Pitbull doing that, but not Rolly. Regardless, I think it's a good fight. I think it's a funny fight. It's an unexpected fight based on all the jerking around that they had the fans with the Ryan Garcia, the whole Devin Haney stuff.
Yeah.
Going back to Devin Haney also. Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney. I like how it started off with, Ryan Garcia is going to fight Devin Haney.
Yeah.
And then Ryan Garcia went on that 3 a.m. run with Mayweather. And then he came out and said, I'm fighting Rolly next. And then Rolly was like, nah, I'm fighting Pitbull Cruz next. And then Ryan Garcia was like, bro, what about me, man?
Yeah, he's just getting left out.
Yeah, he got left out. He literally got left out. Yeah. It's a bad look for Ryan Garcia. But anyway, so now Rolly Romero has a new dancing partner with Pitbull Garcia. With Isaac.
Ryan Garcia's on your mind
Isaac
now.
Cruz. Oh, God. Anyways, before we even switch topics to next main point where we're going to talk about, you guys see about how the WBC made Jermell Charlo champion in recess, meaning that he is no longer, or he is. That means he vacated. Yeah, they vacated his WBC belt. So now we have another championship fight on that prime undercard with Fundora potentially being able to become a world champion at 154, which is I think bad. I don't know about you. Fundora's coming off a loss, a KO loss, and you're telling me he gets a shot at the belt? That's kind of crazy. I don't know about you. I think that's cooked. I'm not a big fan of that regardless.
Yeah, it was a bit interesting because I don't know his opponent. What is he? Eastern European?
Yeah.
Based on that name, that's what Yeah. Because I've never heard of him. So I don't know how highly ranked he is. Maybe it's him actually. That's deserving of the world title shot instead of Fundora because Fundora's coming off of a loss. Kind of interesting that he's getting a world title fight. Yeah, so Charlo is only gonna be a world champion until March 30th, until we get the winner, and then he's no longer the world champion. So it's crazy. Yeah, now I mean all the belts pretty much. Charlo, he's not gonna be defending in the foreseeable future. So I'd say all of his 4 belts or not all 4, 3 of his belts are up for grabs now. Interesting time for the 154 division. We could get a lot of new world champions. Maybe Fundora, the Towering Inferno, becomes a world champion.
Maybe Keith Thurman becomes champion. Keith Thurman
one time. Actually, going back to that fight, about the trash talk, I think one thing that is good for Tim Tszyu to learn from this fight, because every fight you can learn something. One thing that he can learn from the Thurman fight is how to deal with trash talkers, because Keith Thurman loves to talk shit, and he talks shit very well. In that Pacquiao fight, those clips always go around where a trash talker goes wrong. where Keith Thurman's talking shit about Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao, T-Rex arms. And then they pan next to him getting fucking knocked down against Pacquiao.
And then losing.
Yeah, then losing. So I think it's a good. He can learn how to deal with trash talkers. We get to see how Tim Tszyu deals with a trash talker. It's one especially as good as Keith Thurman. So it's interesting. Yeah, I think that's one thing they can learn, and we can see how he deals with that, because that is part of the fight game. You know, mind games before the fight, they start, you know, once you sign that contract. So we've never seen Tim Tszyu fight anybody with the mouth before, and what better fighter to test it out than Keith one time.
That is pretty big facts. Anyways, moving on. What was another topic you guys wanted to
That was the last one.
That was the last one?
It was just
What?
a Prime Video.
Oh, actually, I wanna briefly speak about this one. Let's jump into the influencer scene real quick, briefly. This past week has been a lot of big talk from the Hitman Slim. He's been, you know, since Misfits 12. He was there at the fights, as was KSI, and there was moments where Slim was out, you know, calling him out right there in his person, and KSI would just ignore him or just laugh at his face, right? And Slim went on social media and spoke about this, saying that he feels that KSI is ducking them and this and that, and that allegedly that Misfits and Mams Taylor is protecting KSI from fighting him. Mams Taylor, I think last night or a day or two ago, or maybe even today, came out with a statement saying that he doesn't want to put Slim up against KSI because he wants to protect Slim. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't feel that it makes sense that KSI fight Tommy Fury and then fight Slim. What are your guys' thoughts about that?
I think that's true. I think Slim is not on the level of KSI. I mean, Slim is
level within like boxing skills or like fans popularity and stuff like that.
Oh, popularity wise, not even close either.
Oh, okay.
I mean, KSI is the biggest influencer in the UK.
Yeah.
He has a whole nation behind him, and Slim, I don't even know. I'm gonna be honest.
He's got New York.
I guess, if that, dude. But. Yeah, so, I mean, KSI, first of all, yeah, popularity-wise, levels above him. And also in boxing, I mean, he's just going to knock him out because just KSI is, he's just a dog in there. It's just, he's just going to go in there and actually, like, knock him out. I don't see Slim doing that much against KSI. And also, yeah, also KSI as well, he's on a different level. It's like if Slim called out, or it was like if Saul Poppy was calling out Jake Paul. Jake Paul is not going to go down from his level fighting guys up here to then fight Saul Poppy down here. He's just not going to do that. So I think it's the same thing where KSI, he's starting to fight like Tommy Fury or Jake Paul's, you know what I'm saying, the big names of the influencer scene. He's not going to steep down to the lower classes and fight a guy like Slim. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, how many fights does he have? He has like 6, I think.
KSI?
Slim? No, Slim.
No.
He has like 7.
Oh, he has like 7,
Good
6 or
amount of fights.
7, yeah, something like that. But I mean, look, this is the battle of the foreheads. We have to know who has the biggest forehead because they both have tremendous foreheads.
Battle of the forehead.
Battle of the forehead. No, okay, look. Okay, if I'm gonna be honest, let's be honest.
Just
let's be honest,
roasted them, bro. They both got astray, bro.
All right, let's be honest. I'm not mad about that fight. You know, I'm actually genuinely curious because look, Slim has knocked out every guy he's faced. You know, that's credibility.
Except Tom Zanetti.
Okay, Tom Zanetti, but I mean, even then, okay.
He's the road man. And Ryan Taylor.
Ryan Taylor, you're right.
He's another road man. I think he struggles with the roadman.
Okay. Well, then.
Well, they're higher in this weight class. They're like 175.
170.
I mean, KSI is too. KSI.
I thought KSI was 180. Yeah.
Yeah, but he weighs like 200. I mean, he cuts down to 180, 185, but he's a big boy. I mean, Slim. Look at Slim.
Yeah.
He's slim. It's in the name.
But like his performances, I mean, they've been tremendous. You know, when he wins, he almost just wins by knockout. Slim. So I just really think, you know, I think it's too early. You know, and that I'm just thinking about it right now. I think it's a little too early. I think he needs to build it up a little bit more. I think he just needs to continue, maybe just fighting, just stay busy, and then I think eventually that fight is gonna get made. Cause like he keeps destroying just about everyone, or he keeps demolishing everyone.
Yeah, he just doesn't have the names or the name to call out a guy like KSI. KSI's not gonna fight him. Just like he just ignored him, or he would just laugh at him.
Yeah.
Like he thinks this is comical. He's not gonna stoop down. In his mind, he's levels. He's like KSI's name is here, Slim's name is down there. It's like I'm not fighting him. The only person I see him really fighting, is like guys like Jake Paul, Tommy Fury's. You know what I'm saying? But I don't even know how much of those are left in influencer. So I don't even know what KSI, because he said, I believe that he's gonna fight before the end of the year. No, KSI, and I don't know who he would fight. You know?
Yeah, that's piggyback right in on that. Yeah, there's not many people in the pool that where KSI can fight. I mean, he can go and do what Jake Paul's been doing, fight all these MMA fighters. But then there's the irony, you know, him calling out Jake Paul for fighting MMA fighters, and then he goes off and does that. Like, you're just contradicting yourself, or you're being a hypocrite when it came to that.
And not only that, he also doesn't really want to do that. I mean, Jake Paul is doing that because he wants to be a professional boxer. KSI just wants to beat Jake Paul. So it's like they have two different goals, and KSI's goal, if him fighting MMA guys, doesn't align with his goal. So that's another reason. I mean,
but like I feel like KSI needs to up the competition he's fighting. I mean, yeah, Tommy Fury was the biggest, you know, the highest level competition he's ever fought. But if you look back at his career, he's fought no one. He fought Pineda, a 150-pounder, a journeyman from Mexico, and he fought an overweight rapper in Swarms. Then he went off and fought FaZe Temper, who was already leftovers from Slim, and then he elbowed Joe Fournier, and then he lost against Tommy Fury.
He did elbow him. He elbowed him. He got DQ'd.
That was wild, bro.
That was wild.
Imagine, but I remember, I always say this, but imagine if he actually knocked him out with that right hand.
That would be crazy.
That would have been a crazy knockout, I can't lie. Regardless that he elbowed him, though, but... I like how crazy the fans went when that happened. Ah! And in case I walked around.
Yeah, he thought he was him. Knowing damn well like his elbow was hurting.
Like, shit, my elbow's on fire, bro.
He's like, bro, I like how you try to play it off too. He's like, I didn't know until I saw the replay.
Nah,
like,
dude, you know.
I was like, you felt it on your damn forearm, bro. You didn't feel it in your knuckles on your fist. You could tell. There's a tangible difference.
Yeah. So regardless, like you said, they have two different goals, and I do agree that if KSI's goals, you know, if his opponents don't align with his goal, then he's not going to take it. But then again, who aligns with his goals? You know, what's that? You know, who's the right opponent to put up against KSI that would align him to just, you know, at least stay active while he tries to get that Jake Paul fight?
I think I know.
Who is it?
Tyron Woodley for the rescue once again.
For the rescue.
Bro, they use him like I don't know what they use him.
Lifeline.
Dude, I swear, bro.
That dude a muncher, bro. Bro, he's gonna eat up KSI.
That's what he is. If all else fails, bro, hit up Tyron Woodley, and he will show up on that ring. Oh my gosh.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, look, there's nothing else that KSI can do. Like, if he really wants KSI, like, he's just really waiting on the sideline.
Wait, if you really want KSI.
I mean, if KSI wants Jake Paul, he's just waiting on the sideline.
Whoa.
He's just waiting on the sideline. So, like, for me, I feel like the second best would probably be Slim. Like, if he's really just waiting, like, why not just take this, you know, side quest fight? You know what I'm saying?
I think he just thinks it's below him. I think it's just an ego thing. Like, he thinks he's below him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but who else? Or else, like, who else can he fight?
Tommy Fury rematch or what?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think Tommy Fury wants that.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But yeah, I don't know. Then I don't know.
Well, yeah. So people were, you know, because Slim ended up retweeting or quote retweeting what Mams Taylor said, and he just said that like, oh, the KSI Protection Program is real or something like that. Which I mean, I don't disagree with Mams Taylor. I do agree, but like also like the whole, you know, okay, yeah. KSI fighting Tommy Fury, and then fighting Slim just doesn't make any sense, right? It's kind of like it's a downgrade, like we've been talking about. But what about with the first thing that Mams Taylor said, which was, I want to protect Slim because, you know, they believe that KSI is just gonna brutally knock out Slim, and his two reasonings are the first one, which is he wants to protect Slim from KSI. What are you guys' thoughts about that? From Mam Sailor, the man who pretty much matchmakes the fights at Misfits, not wanting to put Slim up against KSI because he wants to protect him.
I think it's also true. I think Slim has the chance or has the potential to be a superstar, especially for Misfits. I mean, they're constantly searching for superstars. They were heavily, Happy Punch at least, was heavily backing Sal Papi. He was on his train to superstardom, and Slim, ended that train. So, and now I think they're like, okay, let's reassess. Maybe Slim actually does have something. He got crazy power. Maybe we can build him up. And if he fights KSI and gets knocked out, he's not gonna come back to the potential which he could have lived up to. So
is he signed with Misfits, Slim?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I believe so. I mean, so I don't think I think he's right. I mean, they want to protect Slim because you're gonna lose. I mean, I would bet that KSI would knock out Slim. So yeah, I mean, I don't see it beneficial for anybody. You know what I'm saying? Slim is just gonna get knocked out. Then his hype train is gonna go down like crazy. And then if he wants to continue to fight more, he's gonna first have to take some lower down guys. More years of trying to build up back to the point where he was, and I don't think it's ever even gonna come.
Yeah, he would basically have to restart again. I mean, I your point, I never saw it from that aspect, almost like a business aspect. Slim is at a very good place. He has a good, solid foundation. He's built it up since his first fight when he fought FuziTube to now. It's definitely a different Slim. So that's a really good, solid foundation. Now I just think it's trying to get him more popular, trying to get him a little bit more out there, a lot more exposure and stuff like that. So, I mean, I'm not mad about the fight. Hopefully, maybe we could see that fight later down the road because I want to see who, battle the foreheads.
There's no need for that name. It's just kind of straight. Well, no, yeah, I should piggyback right in on your on what you just said right now. Yeah, Slim from fighting on against FuziTube, he ended up fighting on Social Knockouts. And Social Knockouts.
R.I.P. No. Or no,
that's Social Gloves.
Yeah,
Social Knockouts. Actually, they've had 3 events, but he's fought in 2 of them, I believe. But yeah, I mean, but from Social Knockouts to Misfits, that's a huge difference in viewers and huge difference in money and exposure. Come on, there's levels to the way a business, a boxing business is done, and fighting on Misfits is levels above any other influencer boxing company, which I don't think there's really many because they just do not know how to do business when it comes to the sporting aspect of it. But yeah, so Slim, if I was him, I would probably keep fighting more influencers. And if he actually wants to, step up against KSI, fight an opponent who is respectable enough to get KSI's attention. Because if you beat you fight Jarvis, or you fight another fighter at 168. I'm not really sure who else is there at the moment, but. I mean, you're not gonna get KSI's attention. He's gonna be like, bro, you're just beating these influencers. But if you fight maybe a former MMA fighter and you brutally knock him out, then yeah, you're gonna get more attention not only from KSI but from the fans, from the influencers, and fans from the sporting world, because they're gonna be like, oh man, this other influencer just knocked out another MMA fighter. What's going on here? And so then people, you're gonna have more leverage and more power to try to put your name into the table of potential opponents for KSI.
Yeah, he has to get people. He has to get the people, the community, to start wanting the fight. And the way to do that, like you said, is fight credible opponents. You know what I'm saying? If he knocks out an ex-MMA guy, then, yeah, the fans are going to be like, okay, now I want to see it. And then they're going to pressure KSI into wanting to fight him. Because, yeah, KSI is feeling no pressure. I mean, the community isn't really saying nothing about this fight. Maybe they think it's fun. They could, come up with some hypotheticals, but it's not a real fight like a Jake Paul KSI one where there's pressure on that one. Yeah, so I think he just has to. That's exactly right. He has to rely on the community to get this fight going, and to do that, you're gonna have to start fighting more guys and more credible guys.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But yeah, so I kind of wanted to touch bases upon a little bit what was going on in the influencer scene. One of the bigger things that happened. But I think we covered everything we wanted to talk about today. Give us your thoughts and opinions about how Jaime Munguia performed. Do you think he has enough in his arsenal to challenge Canelo? Do you think he did enough to deserve such a big payday, or would you rather see him fight against someone like Berlanga, maybe even Caleb Plant, Dave Morel, or Christian Mbili, who just recently fought on the Better Beef card? Give us your thoughts about that. What's next for John Ryder? This is his 6th or 7th loss, I believe. He's taken 2 pretty big beatings in his last 2 fights. So let us know what you guys think about that. Also, let us know about KSI and Slim. You guys excited about that fight? Is it possible? And lastly, let us know about the Tim Tszyu versus Keith Thurman fight. Is that the fight? A good proper headline for the first PBC video / PBC fight card of the year. Also, don't forget to follow us on social media. We are on TikTok, Instagram, X, and on YouTube. So don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Follow us on our Discord down in the link below. We're trying to grow our community, and it would be greatly appreciated if you joined. But yeah, so I think that was it for us. This was Pablo, and I'm with Rudo and Asa, and we are at the Last Round Podcast. Thank you for watching.